All right. We are live. Good evening, good afternoon, and good afternoon. Pretty much. Let me start over again. Good evening, good afternoon, and we are live. As you can see by the title of the live, we are talking about the CrowdStrike outage. The pretty much, I want to say, the worst tech outage that happened. Some people are saying the worst tech outage that happened on record, and but I don't know. I think we still have the year's not over yet. We still have more to come. But definitely, this is one of the biggest blunders that I've seen in my lifetime, and uh, I have nothing. I have nothing to say on this. I don't know how CrowdStrike will recover. Later on, we'll go into CrowdStrike's stocks right now. I think their stock dropped, and we'll go into it and see how that looks. Let's see, CrowdStrike. Let me see. So right now, they're. We'll go into that later on, but I just want to get some context, just give you my feedback on what happened. But because basically, I was pretty much this came out of nowhere. I was watching this for about I was pretty much in the middle of this whole thing. I was doing some consulting on the side, and basically this whole thing started. I want to say started exactly for me. It started exactly at 5 o'clock on a Friday at 1:30 a.m. So as I'm there doing some work, doing some overnight work, I pretty much started getting alerts from a bunch of servers I was monitoring, and I had to be that guy that called everybody. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I had to be that guy that called everybody. I had to be that guy to get on the phone and wake the CTO and all senior management, senior IT management. So yeah, I had to be that guy to call people and tell them like, hey, you got to wake up. We need to do a deep dive and find out what's going on the server end and what's causing this issue right now. So I'm just looking at a few things off on my side. So just give me a second. So just give me a second so I could just look at some things. So before we do a deep dive, let's look at what's going on in the news at the moment. Let's see what people are saying, and let's take a look at the CrowdStrike debacle that happened. So, okay. So let's look at this. Let me share my screen. Basically, Elon Musk said he's getting rid of CrowdStrike off his machine. But again, we have to look at this and just do a deep analysis of of pretty much what happened. Okay. I'm just getting some things together, so just give me a minute. I had to move my live up from 4 o'clock to 3:30, so I'm gonna be on till about 4:30, give or take. But I just want to give you guys some feedback, some news art, some news quotes, what people are saying, what the impact was, and so forth. So let me share my screen. So this is pretty much what Elon Musk is saying. Now let's stop that. Share window. Share that. All right, so let's take a look. Let's listen and watch what the news media is saying on this CrowdStrike outage. So I'm just gonna pause it right here. So um, now this correspondent or whatever he is, the cybersecurity guy, he has a valid point. How do we get to the point where one company has control over so many machines? And we've seen this time and time again that the security industry, again, in my opinion, it's failing because we're relying on, these how can I put it in a pleasant way? We're relying on these tools, to do everything for us when all you have to do is put a team together, or basically for your cybersecurity needs, all you have to do is just put a team together, or um, just find the right company that suits your needs. To be honest, in my opinion, I just feel like this outage should be a wake up call. It should give us an idea of what not to do. I think the industry is gonna hopefully somewhat wake up and just understand, like, how did we get to this point where one company is just dominating the industry, so to a point where a faulty, you know, bad code in an update, just just knocks out so many desktops, machines, so many systems that run on Windows, and is just like, how do we get to this point? But I want to just go back on my thoughts for a little bit and just say, so pretty much when this whole thing happened, it happens on a Friday. Anybody in the industry knows you don't push updates on a Friday. It's just a lot of well, a lot of things happen on a Friday. People are just, getting ready to go home. Businesses are on, like, their operations are pretty much just minimal on a Friday. If you're in a hospital situation, you know that no updates are pushed on a Friday. Um, Everything just goes through on a normal, Tuesday. I want to say Tuesday to Thursday, depending on the update. If the update is critical, then yeah, it's pretty much all staff on deck, to roll out this high priority update. But from my understanding, this update just came through out of nowhere. It wasn't scheduled. It didn't go past any change management. They just pushed out an update, and it basically bricked all the Windows machines that this company has clients for. Um, the overall fix, I think, was just a bad fix altogether. It looks like it was something quick. Like they just had to kind of just reverse everything they did, and but which doesn't really make sense. But let's get back into what this this cyber guy is saying as far as his opinion. Just give me a second. I'm checking my stream right now. I'm just testing different streaming software to see what I like. So just bear with me a second. Just want to make sure everything's coming in clearly. And we'll go into it and see how that looks. Basically, this 4:30 here. Okay, so let's just go back into this. Let's Okay, audio looks good. America and the rest of the world can be in business. Now, Crowdstrike CEO has apologized, and the company. So let's go back just a little bit. Some are now questioning whether our country, is vulnerable. Why? How did we allow for one company, one entity, to control whether or not America and the rest of the world can be in business? Now, Crowdstrike CEO has apologized, and the company says that a fix has been deployed, but experts are saying it's going to take time for that fix to take effect. And rather than wait for that repair, it does appear that some are taking a different approach. Elon Musk posted on X that he has deleted Crowdstrike from all of his systems. Unclear which companies he's referring to, or all of them perhaps. And meanwhile, Mark, shares of Crowdstrike taking a battering today in the market, down more than 12.5% when I just checked. Renee, thank you very much. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's basically, how do we get to this point where one company just is basically dominating the industry, and the update just came out of nowhere. It didn't go in through any change management from what I could see. My experience in the industry is that any update that goes through, it has to go through change management. It has to be approved on by, whoever is managing, head of network and engineering. Everything has to go be approved before, any type of update comes out. But again, it's just this is I'm hoping this is just definitely a wake up call to everybody that you can't really rely on one company to do everything and pretty much do pretty much just be the single source and be the end all and be all for your cybersecurity needs. I get it. Some companies can't afford to buy, to build their own cybersecurity team. But at the end of the day, if you're paying all that money to CloudStrike, you should be able to kind of just build your own team and, you know, build it from the ground up, or provide, or, you know, find other partners that could do the work, the same amount of work at a different price point. But let me see, let's go into more information about this CrowdStrike. Let's see what CBS is saying regarding this whole thing. Then we're gonna take a look at CrowdStrike's shares later on. But from what everybody was saying when this first happened, this was a Microsoft thing. Microsoft, for its corporate clients, updates are not pushed out by Microsoft. It's up to the system administrator, depending on different circumstances on the back end. But the system administrator or the admin, whoever is in charge, controls the updates before it even hits any machines. I know as a Microsoft partner, Microsoft lets you pick the days that you could push out an update if your clients are, you know, they're the type to kind of just say delay updates or things like that. You have the option to push out specific updates, and all updates are not just pushed out to anybody's machine randomly. So when this first thing happened, everybody was basically screaming, oh, it's Microsoft. But no, um, when this happened, when I was doing, my consulting work on the side, it basically, it basically, we got a, it wasn't even an email. It was just basically a Twitter notification stating, oh, we rolled, it was basically they rolled out a bad update. There was something corrupted in the update that caused the desktop and servers to just go into a reboot state, a constant reboot loop. And the fix itself is not really that hard. Well, it's not that hard, but when you have um, hard drives that are encrypted with BitLocker encryption, it's not that easy to just implement a fix right away. So the whole process in itself was basically you have to reboot the machine into safe mode, and then log in into safe mode, I believe. But once you log into safe mode, you're prompted by BitLocker to basically put in that BitLocker key. If you're not gonna, if you're not able to put in that BitLocker key, you won't go past that BitLocker screen. So therefore, the fix itself wasn't, it was a simple fix, but it wasn't that easy to implement. Now, servers, on the other hand, are different, but desktop computers, if they're running Windows, most likely it had to be, the drive itself had to be unlocked by BitLocker encryption. You put in the BitLocker code, you log in, then you had to go into the C drive where that CloudStrike file was located, and pretty much delete that bad update. There was another fix for computers that weren't affected by it. I believe they pushed out a separate update to fix it. For computers that weren't on during the update, if they automatically came on after the update that bricked machines, they were hit with a new patch right away, so it wouldn't affect them going forward. So, but it's I like to see what these computer gurus are saying, and these so-called experts. So let me share another. Let's go into window. Okay, let's share that. And let's see what these computer experts are saying.
Continue our coverage now of the massive outage. And joining me now to help break down what happened is Lily Hay Newman, senior writer at Wired. Welcome, Lily.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I mean, can you talk more about how this glitch with the cybersecurity firm Crowdstrike can impact Microsoft, and tell us more about the company, what exactly it does?
Yeah, what seems to be evolving right now is that this was actually sort of a perfect storm of two incidents that Microsoft's Azure cloud platform had an outage that began last night. And then separately, but intersecting with that, the security firm CrowdStrike pushed a faulty or flawed update to their Falcon threat detection platform, which is causing Windows computers and servers to go down. And so the combination of those two things has just been overwhelming and causing the chaos that everyone's seeing.
And companies, do they typically have a backup option if something like this happens? And if not, what should that look like?
There are definitely redundancies and fallbacks and ways to try to get around these issues, particularly something like a cloud outage like the Azure situation. But CrowdStrike's platform is significant to understand because it's a threat detection platform. So it's operating in real time. It needs deep system access to try to monitor for threats and detect issues and then.
So I have a diagram set up. Well, not really a diagram, but just basically an overview to show you what the where the CloudStrike application sits within the kernel and between the software and the kernel. So to give you an idea of if anything happen, well, giving you an idea of what happens when something like that, a threat detection system like CrowdStrike that has, I want to say, deep access to the machine's kernel. What happens when something like this goes through? But let's finish this, and I'll go into that diagram.
Let you know about them. So when there's a problem in that system, it can really cause deep problems in the systems that it's running in because it needs to have that access to work.
Now, Microsoft says it fixed the underlying cause for the outage for its 365 apps and services, but some customers or businesses are still being impacted. And in situations like that, how long can we expect it to take for things to get back to normal?
In this case in particular, the fix seems to be very labor intensive and involve what we call hands-on with the device. You can't just do like a remote over-the-air update to fix the problem. People call it the blue screen of death. Like that's what we're seeing on these machines. So there really could be a long tail with this, and it could take hours, even days to get everything fixed. IT folks around the world are scrambling to address this.
Yeah, and I have to thank our IT team. I came in this morning, had the blue screen in my office, and it took about an hour for them to get my computer and my co-office person's computer running too. So it does take a bit of time. Now, this situation raises a wider question of how much society really relies on technology. Do you think that this situation is going to cause many companies to scale back a little bit?
Well, this is the world we live in. I don't think we can sort of go back or scale back in that sense. But as you're saying, it highlights the fragility of the internet, the fragility of the cloud, the interdependencies between all the different software services that we use and connected services, and the need to have a clear vision for how we're setting up networks, how we're setting up our systems, and like you said, to have a plan in place.
So definitely good points and argument. As far as technology in technology use in society, I just feel like this this shouldn't basically this should not deter anybody from adopting technology. This should just be, in my opinion, why does a company this large have has such a big control over an industry that that's fragile, pretty much. And again, as far as me, as far as my company, we have cybersecurity solutions, but nothing to the point where we have full kernel access. There are other solutions out there where you don't have to get full kernel access to a machine to get something in real time. And then just touching base on what she said with the cloud, with Microsoft Azure. If one of Microsoft services go down, their Azure service goes down, there are redundancies. There's backups and redundancies available for that. But CloudStrike in itself, I've always known of the company. Again, I just don't. I know of the company. I didn't know full details about their solutions until now. But even I know something like that shouldn't have full root access, full kernel access to a machine, because um, especially something like this, it's if something like this happens, there's no coming back from that. And picture it like this: if one fix took an hour, imagine what that time frame looks like for a company that has 1,200 machines, or 1,300 machines, 3,000 machines. You have to go through every desktop, apply um the fix, which is you reboot the machine into safe mode, you get the BitLocker key, you type the BitLocker key in, which is you basically can't cut and paste. Then you log into the machine, go to the C directory, find that CloudStrike folder, delete that update, reboot the machine, have it reboot back into its normal state, and then you have to check to make sure. Then once you're done with that, you have to move to the next machine. So just think about, if you have 1,000 machines, 13,000 machines in different locations, and you're a small IT department. Again, stuff like this is definitely good reason for we need to start looking at, um in my opinion, we start looking at why this company has such a big control on the industry that's already fragile. Threat actors, data breaches are happening pretty much every day, because we're pretty much in the beginning of what I call hacking season. And hey, this should be a wake up call, to be honest. So let me go into what CloudStrike is and how they have access to the machine. Well, like I said, it's an intrusion detection platform, or it provides that intrusion detection service. But let's let me share my screen, then I'll give you an idea of what CloudStrike, where it sits pretty much. All right, so in basic computers 101, you have your application, which is Windows, and then you have the kernel that sits underneath Windows. Windows basically just interacts with the kernel, and it gives you access to control the CPU, memory, devices. All of that interacts and pretty much interacts on a symbiotic level. So CloudStrike, being the application, sits here, but it has access into the kernel, which pretty much controls everything. So when they pushed out that bad update, that update affected the kernel some way. I still don't know what was wrong in that update, but this is where the issue lies, in my opinion. I don't think a application of that size should have full access to the kernel. Um, as we can see, if a bad update pushes out and it corrupts something within the kernel, that basically puts the machine in a reboot state, constant reboot states. Reboot loop is what it was called, and that's basically what happened to desktops, what happened to servers. Now, the impact itself. Let me stop sharing. The impact itself, well, from my understanding, um, it basically impacted 911, airports, um, and what else? A few hospitals, ATM machines, ATM machines, few banks. I think also pretty much here in New York, it affected few other systems, but again, it shouldn't be to the point where one company has full control, full access over something like, something like tens and thousands of computers and so many clients and things within that nature. But let me see, as far as, let me see, as far as this, I have to say this is one of the worst, um I think, tech disasters that I've seen. The year is almost over. Still got a couple more months. I don't know. I just feel like something like this should just be looked at and evaluated, evaluated to say, hey, why does a company like this have so much control over, and why companies are willing to pay a company like, CloudStrike just to do something. Let me see. I want to give you some insight on CloudStrike CEO. Let's see. So CloudStrike CEO did issue an apology, but I think the impact of it was, so let me share. No, I don't want to go to the Today Show, but I want to go to All right, just bear with me for. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the apology itself looked a little bit, again, in my opinion, a little bit half-assed. But all right, so let's get into it. I'm gonna share the CloudStrike CEO's apology, and hey, don't slip up now, man. Your company is on the line. So so again, the fix itself, it's a simple fix, but the problem is when you have hard drives that are encrypted, think about it like this. You have 300 machines, 3,000 machines, plus servers. You cannot do something like this remotely if the machine is not booted back into its normal state. You have to go to each machine, unlock the hard drive. If it's BitLocker, then BitLocker was designed to basically be, uncrackable. So I believe it's a 28 string character unlock code. And if you have your laptop here, so you got to go to your laptop, you got to get your laptop, talk to whoever the admin is, tell him the computer name. He generates the unlock BitLocker key. So you're at your laptop. You got to now type that 28 character or 25 character. I don't remember uh, that 25 character key in, hoping that you didn't make a mistake somewhere along that 25 or 28 character string code. Um, you know, Unlock it, go into the C drive, delete that CrowdStrike update, then reboot back the machine back into its normal mode, have the user log in, test everything, make sure it works. So that's one machine. That one, as we saw in the um uh previous video, it took their IT person an hour to unlock and fix one machine. Now multiply that by 3,000. This is something that's going to be going well on into the week of upcoming weeks. So yeah, I don't. Again, their PR team and their legal team must be working overtime right now. But again, I don't see them coming back from this, to be honest. And I think they had a data breach some time back. I can't confirm that. I didn't really look up the company, but um, let's continue to hear what the CEO has to say. And I'm gonna do a deep dive on the CEO. Again, it's just certain people don't belong in this industry, and I'm sad to say he's one of them. But let's continue. So he has to get on the air because it's pretty much damage control. Um, that's what it is. It's pretty much damage control, and he has to he has to maintain his company's reputation. I don't believe that they're gonna come back from this. To be honest, we'll take a look at their stocks in a few to see where it is at the moment. But I want to just give a brief overview of CrowdStrike CEO, where he's come from, his background. So let's share this. Let's bring this over here. So let's share. So this is CrowdStrike CEO, uh, George Kurtz. Pretty much not going to go into his full bio. American businessman. He's a co-founder and CEO of a cybersecurity company, CrowdStrike. Together, I'm not going to pronounce this guy's name. He was also the founder of Fundstone and chief technology officer at McAfee, which is interesting. I think McAfee is a company that it's no longer relevant in the industry. It's still around, but um, so this is brief his brief background. After college, he began his career at Price Waterhouse as a CPA. So again, no technology background. What else? What else? A book about cybersecurity for network administrator with sold 600,000 copies. Okay, so let me see the series. Let me see what can we know. What else can we know? Join private equity firm. Nothing really. Kurtz is an avid exotic car collector and has driven Audi, Mercedes. Pretty much just no tech background. Pretty much just a CPA. Let's see what Kurtz in 2023, Kurtz warned of a cybersecurity threat from China and criticized Microsoft's response after the Chinese hackers exploited a flaw in Microsoft's cloud email service to gain access to email accounts of U.S. government employees. Again, I know of this data breach. Nothing was really factually proven to be Microsoft's fault. Again, I've been using Microsoft's products for years. Again, you have people who are, Google fanboys, whatever. I guess you could call me a Microsoft fanboy, but again, a lot of these data breaches happen, or a lot of these, uh, I want to say, let's say, cybersecurity incidents happen because there's a lot of sloppy administrators, a lot of people out there that don't put on multi-factor authentication on their Microsoft account. Some accounts just have weak passwords, and some accounts just basically are not protected in the correct way. So therefore, it's just, put it simply, just a lot of laziness on a lot of administrators' parts. But let's get back into this guy's background. So again, it comes from a fairly decent company. Doesn't really have any technology background. Again, CPA who's running a cybersecurity company. Um, don't really understand that, but again, people are investing in his products. So um, there it is. This is the CEO of CloudStrike. His background, where he came from, and who he is as a person. I guess he likes to collect a lot of exotic cars, and he's a avid race. He currently is driving for the CrowdStrike racing team. Yeah. Okay. So again, you should have been on your job, and it shows that you were not on your job. So I am we're pretty much coming to a close on this live. Let me see, what else do I want to share with you. But again, in my opinion, I hope the industry just wakes up just a little bit, and I don't think, again, it's just my opinion. It's just my thoughts. I don't feel like the company is going to come back. It might not. They might, shareholders might want, or the board might want, uh, new protocols, new things put in place to kind of reassure the public's trust in CrowdStrike. But something like this should never happen. Should never ever happen. Again, in my experience in the IT field, updates go through a change management board. They're approved. Updates are tested. Again, for update to be pushed out so fast without being tested, again, don't know what happened, don't know how they dropped the ball on that, but knowing the fact that they have so many clients and they have full kernel access to so many machines, I don't believe the company is going to come back from this. I believe, again, just my opinion, I believe they're going to get hit pretty hard, and I know for a fact recovery is going to take at least 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the amount of computers you have, and so forth. So again, one of the, I want to say, the worst disasters. Uh, I don't want to call it. I don't want to even call it a disaster, but the fact that 911 was down, I know hospitals were down. They weren't able to admit patients. They weren't able to bill properly and things like that. But again, um, our reliance on technology should not be swayed. In my opinion, I think we should just look a little deeper and just find out why a company like this has so much control over an already fragile industry. We've seen it time again. Solar winds. Um, I know there's another cybersecurity firm out there that got hacked. I can't recall their name, but again, this wasn't a hack. It was just a, I don't know, maybe change management process needs to be put in place for CrowdStrike, but again, it's just like something like this should definitely never have happened. So let's take a look before I get off. Let's take a look at CrowdStrike shares at the moment. Let's see how it's looking. So their shares right now are down 11.10%. Pretty much, they're losing. Yeah, I think over, what is this? Just one day. So we're in the weekend now, but let's look at it from who. Yeah, that dropped extensively. Let me see. Let me see if I have any questions. Any. Let me see. Do I have any questions? So I'm just gonna stop sharing for a second. I just want to look at something. Da, da, da. Minimize. So, all right. So let me share this back again. So yeah, just sharing this back again. So as you can see, their shares pretty much were going down anyway. So from the 19th. Yeah, that was on Friday. Their shares dropped dramatically. It's I think it's rallying back, but definitely as of 3 p.m. on a Friday, as of 4 p.m. on a Friday, their shares dropped down from $348 down to three, 304.96. So that's definitely a sharp decline. The company probably bounce back, to be honest. But again, I'm just looking at it from an approach of, I don't think a company like this should just have so much control over an operating system, especially if they're not the manufacturer. But again, and just that's just my opinion. And what I feel is that um, we should definitely take a look at other solutions, other solutions that are not that doesn't have so much invasive control, and pretty much that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here at the at this mark. So if you like the stream, please like, share, and subscribe. If you got any comments, just leave it in the just leave a comment. I definitely do answer, and I definitely do reply back. So so just voice your opinion and let me know what you think. And I will be back soon with dropping more content. Just give me some time, and I'll see you later.